Hey, it's Liberty. I make videos about books, and today this is my first wrap up. After 5 months making videos about books, this is my July wrap up. Now, I'm not someone who reads hundreds of books in a year. I tend to stretch out my time between radio, television, film and books as well. But I read 6 books in July, 4 paperbacks, 1 audiobook and 1 ebook, I think. I am making this as spoiler-free as possible. I'm not mentioning anything that's not on the back of the book or in like the Goodreads little blurb. So let's get started. So the first book I read in July was Queen of the North by Anne O'Brien. I mentioned this in my books I want to finish before lockdown ends video, and I did. I finally finished it. This was my ebook read. It centres around Elizabeth Mortimer, who is the wife of Henry Hotspur Percy, and the Percys are one of 2, but the most powerful family in the north in 15th century England, and hence the title. And the book follows her and the family as they get involved in all the court intrigues and different battles that happen during this period. So the book starts in 1399 with the ascension of Henry IV of England to the throne. But there are different rebellions by various different people, and it's really interesting to see the relationship that England had with Wales, with Scotland. I thought Elizabeth Mortimer was a great character to be, inside her head. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars on Goodreads. I really enjoy Anne O'Brien's books and I will definitely be picking up more. I know she's written others about various medieval women, so I will be definitely picking up one of those. The next book I read in July was Arabella by Georgette Heyer. Now this is actually the first Regency romance book that I picked up because I wanted to read Regency romance. I mean that, and there's only so many times you can read Jane Austen, and I really wanted to read something in that world. Georgette Heyer is just a behemoth of an author in the historical fiction genre and historical romance and romance in general, so I knew that she was safe hands. The title character Arabella is a clergyman's daughter from Yorkshire, and she gets the opportunity, because she has rich relatives and a rich godmother, to go to London for the season to make connections, maybe to find a husband. So she's on her way to London when the carriage that she's in breaks down and she meets Robert Beaumaris. I feel like I pronounced that wrong, but I had dyslexia, so forgive me. He is one of the big figures of London society, or English society at the time, and she finds herself so appalled by his arrogance that she pretends to be a rich heiress in order to sort of not exactly get some respect from him, but sort of make him realise how he was treating her. By the time she gets to London, word has got around. Georgette Heyer is so good at presenting Regency society to her readers, from the clothes to the houses to just the whole general atmosphere. The protagonist was really, really nice. And I mean that in a good way, not in a bland vanilla way. She was just a good person. Sometimes you do want to read that, and it was what I needed at the time. I gave it 3 out of 5 stars, I think. If I could, it would have been 3.5. I actually bumped it down. It was 4, but then I read another one of her books in August that made me sort of reevaluate how I felt about Arabella. I also read The Doll Factory by Elizabeth McNeill. This is becoming a bit of a pattern, but it's another historical fiction novel. This time it's set in 1850, I believe, when the Great Exhibition is being set up in Hyde Park. Now we follow our main character Iris, who is working painting dolls, but she really wants to be a painter of pictures. And so she meets Louis Frost, and he is a member of the Pre-Raphaelite Brotherhood, a fictional member obviously, and she meets him and he offers to teach her how to paint if she will model for him and obviously a fair wage too. And she agrees. We also follow Silas, who is a collector and a taxidermist who becomes like a little obsessed with Iris. I love it when historical fiction has real characters in it, and although Frost is made up, you get to meet the Rossetti brothers and Millais, and they're all working towards getting their style of painting accepted into the academy. A warning, it is not a nice romp through Victorian London. It is dark and Gothic revival. You really see the dark side of Victorian London, especially in some of the supporting characters. I gave this book 3 out of 5 stars. I did enjoy it. I just thought there could have been a bit more resolution. And I think it could have been expanded more. I wanted more. I mean, don't get me wrong, the ending is so good. I mean, I'm pretty sure the last 100 pages I had work to do, but I couldn't stop reading it. I just couldn't put it down. I had to know what happened. So, I mean, 3 out of 5 stars is good. Anything above 2 is good, in my opinion. The next book I read in July was an audiobook of The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde by Robert Louis Stevenson. Again, I think this is definitely the only classic that I have read in July. Anyway, this is a novella which was first published in the 1880s, and it is narrated by Dr. Utterson, who is a friend of Dr. Jekyll. He is investigating the strange goings on with his friend and also a strange individual named Mr. Hyde. It is one of the most famous examples of examining morality and the duality of man, and it is one of the staples of Victorian fiction. I did really enjoy it. I hadn't seen any adaptation or any kind of version of it, barring when they used the characters in Once Upon a Time. But I gave this book 4 out of 5 stars. I don't really know what to say other than I've really enjoyed it. It's a classic for a reason. I highly recommend it to everyone. It's great. My next book is another historical fiction, and I think I have a problem. It's The Children of Cartagena by Natalie Haynes. The best thing I can say about this book is do go into it knowing nothing about it. All I really want to say is it's set in the city of Thebes, and it's a dual perspective story. Your 2 point of view characters are Jocasta and Izzy. I have a proof copy of this book from when I used to work at Waterstones, and it didn't have a proper blurb or anything, so it literally, like, me going into it knowing absolutely nothing was perfect, and just that is the way to do it. You slowly find out more and more about these characters the longer you read, and like their connection to each other, their connection to the city of Thebes, and it's all set in a backdrop of people being scared about a pandemic, essentially, which is a really weird choice for me, but like, you know, I didn't know that going in. It was just a coincidence. So I gave this book 4 out of 5 stars. I really enjoyed it. I love slow reveals, which I think are so rare, because a lot of the times you would have trawled Goodreads, you would have seen it in a YouTube video or something. Both point of view characters were interesting to read. I did like them both. Again, like with the Doll Factory, I had other things to do at the time, and I put them off to finish this book. So the final book I read in July was A House Full of Daughters by Juliet Nicholson. Now, this was the only non-fiction book that I read in July, and when I was younger, I mean, I still do it now, but my parents used to take me to a lot of National Trust properties, and our favourite was Sissinghurst in Kent. And I've been there like so many times, probably once a year since I was like 8, with my family who live in Kent, with other family, with friends. It's just a place that I love to spend time. And this book is all about the inhabitants of said house, because Juliet Nicholson is the granddaughter of Vita Sackville West, who was a Bloomsbury Group author and lover of Virginia Woolf. And it basically documents from Vita's grandmother down through the generations, like a female in each generation, going right to Juliet and to Juliet's daughter and granddaughter. Juliet Nicholson is such an engaging writer, and the women in her family are just really fascinating, and they all have, you know, their traumas, and they all have, you know, things that they're dealing with. And something that connects them all is attachment to physical place, and in some cases more than human connection. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. I really loved it. I don't know what else to say. It made me want to travel to all these different places, to Spain, to Sissinghurst, and I had to, you know, stop and think, wait, no, you don't want to travel right now. You want to keep yourself and the people you live with safe, so just put it off. You will get there, you will get there. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed my July wrap up. I hope I can keep up this 6 books a month for the rest of the year, although I doubt it. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. You can't see my thumb. Give it a thumbs up. And do subscribe for more bookish or history, archaeology videos from me. Happy reading.